Regardless of whether we label a behavior dishonesty, fibbing, telling an untruth, purposeful distortion, misleading, evading, prevaricating, gilding the lily, deception, or lying, the common denominator is that an individual has engaged in an ethical compromise. An ethical compromise is a decision that subordinates ethical values, such as honesty or fairness, to secular values, like monetary gains. Philosopher Immanuel Kant argued that because ethical principles constitute categorical reasons for acting, they must be upheld unconditionally. When individuals compromise their ethical values, they forfeit their integrity. For instance, if a person opposed to biological warfare decides in a moment of financial desperation to accept work in a laboratory that advances these technologies, this undermines the person's integrity. Ethical compromises may be seen by those who make them as necessary for survival in a world of scarce resources. It may come as no surprise that people often compromise their ethics by lying to others. In a classic study led by social psychologist Bella DePaulo, research participants were asked to keep a daily diary in which they recorded every time they told a lie and to explain why they did so. Most participants reported telling at least one lie per day and deceiving at least 30% of people they interacted with during any given week. Sometimes people told white lies in an effort not to offend or hurt someone's feelings, but a more common reason for lying was to advance one's self-interest. Deception is widespread in negotiations, with some surveys finding lies occur anywhere from 30% to 100% of the time. But note that if negotiators lie about their bottom line, they run the risk of impasse. For example, if you're selling a used car with a Blue Book value of $15,000, but you bluff and say that you can't accept anything less than $20,000, a deal that is better than your BATNA may slip through your fingers. Deception can introduce inefficiencies in the market because it may increase search costs, with both the deceiver and the deceived needing to find someone else to do a deal with. In other words, deception can result in lose-lose outcomes. While it might be easy for most people to justify inflating their bottom line when selling a used car to a stranger via Craigslist, most of these same people would not be able to justify doing the same thing if the prospective buyer were their grandmother. This is because different types of relationships call for different rules of engagement. In the words of leading negotiation experts, understanding what sort of game is being played conveys information about rules, boundaries, and which strategies are permissible. In other words, to know how to navigate the uncertainty of deception in negotiations, it is important to know the game you are playing with the particular negotiating counterpart. To be an effective negotiator, it's important to know which school of ethics you subscribe to in a particular situation. George Schell, a professor of business ethics and negotiation, originally identified 3 negotiation schools of ethics. The first school likens negotiations to a poker game. In the movie Wall Street, Gordon Gekko famously stated, "Greed is good." This mantra typifies the attitude held by negotiators who subscribed to the poker game school of ethics. These individuals may ignore the claims of friendship and engage in cunning deception and concealment, meaning hard bargaining encounters, as long as they are legal. They may also bluff like you do in poker to see how far you can get the other side to go, and they expect their negotiating counterparts are bluffing too. But if your counterpart catches you bluffing, the deal may be over, or the offer will be closer to their last bid instead of yours. The second school is an idealist school, where negotiators do the right thing, even if it hurts. Negotiators subscribing to this school treat bargaining as an aspect of social life and reject the idea that it should be treated as a separate activity with its own set of rules. Idealists tend to believe the same ethics that apply at home should carry over directly into the realm of negotiation. If it is not okay to lie at home, then it is not okay to lie in a negotiation. The only way it's okay to lie is if it is to protect someone. Idealists also believe that you don't have to tell the opponent everything if it is going to hurt your chances of winning, and you can even choose to pass on answering questions. They prefer to be honest while negotiating, even if that means giving up a certain amount of strategic advantage. The third school is the pragmatist school, where negotiators reason what goes around comes around. Like those subscribing to a poker view, pragmatists see deception as a necessary part of the negotiation. But they avoid making misleading statements and telling overt lies if there is a practical alternative. While they may consider using tactics to avoid answering questions that threaten or expose a weak bargaining position, they remain concerned that the use of questionable tactics can have negative effects on present and future relationships that they don't want to damage. They're concerned about their reputation and credibility over time. Which school of ethics resonates most with you? By and large, the most popular school of ethics among MBA students we surveyed is the pragmatist school. The next most popular school is the idealist school, and the least popular school is the poker game. Each approach has different pros and cons, and it is important for you to weigh the trade-offs in deciding on which school you want to enroll in under which circumstances.